Hey guys, Justa guy here with another episode of Kingdoms SMP, and as you can see in the background, I decorated up the pumpkin farm a little bit. I got a giant jack-o'-lantern with a face on two sides, and I do like the little melon stem. I also, got to work on extending the trough in a little bit, But yeah, it's like added 2 layers more, and there's room for another 2 layers, so it's like a total of 3 layers. I don't know if I'll need more. I mean, I used quite a few on the jack-o'-lantern up top. But as you can see, I still have quite a few pumpkins and melons growing, so I'm not too worried about it. I do need to still make a door, and I do kind of want to cover up these little bits right here with something. I'm not sure what. I'm not too worried about hiding the redstone machine inside, so I might use a lot of glass. But yeah. And then I also added some aesthetics to the sapling farm here. I got some like little cut logs sort of being dumped into the river. I got little saw blades going here. And I just think it's funny. But yeah, speaking of, the little sapling farm here is doing really good. Like I said, it's mostly a sapling. I got over 40 of these already. And you can just cut these. But one thing I learned is if they get stuck on there, well, that one didn't. I don't have to run out there and get it like I was doing previously. If you do, well, apparently none of them want to get stuck on there. But if you throw a block like halfway between them and the grate or whatever, the blocks will generally get attracted to the block you threw and get pulled off. So it's odd. I always thought they went to the one with the highest amount of volume, but no, you can just throw one block like right there, and if they're stuck on there, they'll come off. That turned to grass. That's interesting. I think if a stick lens that turns to grass. But yeah, Zero and JJ updated that pack of that. So now, if you throw a sapling on dirt, it plants itself instead of turning into a dead bush. That means that you can have a farm, and it'll basically automatically replant itself as long as it, the sapling hits the proper place, like that. Because previously when a tree grows, it automatically turned the dirt underneath it into dirt if it was grass, so you couldn't have a working tree farm. But the other thing is how I don't have any more logs. Zero's mechanic works is not based upon how many blocks there is or your hunger or anything like some of the other tree cutter decapitation things. It works based on having log blocks fall underneath it. So it'll go something like 16 blocks. And every tree just because something fell underneath it. So what we're going to work on today is a better tree farm for wood. That one's more of a sapling farm. It's going to have pistons that push it up, and water flows underneath and logs go underneath it to make a basically automatic self-planting wood farm. You can do bone meal and the piston up and all that, which was what Zero showed me, which would make a really efficient, fast farm, but it would take tons of bone meal. What I'm going to do is basically be something that can be just run all the time, and you never really have to worry about it, never maintain it really, other than maybe restock the wood hoppers if you don't have a sorting system to replant itself. But yeah, guys, I'm going to clear some area and make it get ready, and then be right back. Let's punch it for a time lapse. Hey guys, so just before I did the time lapse, I want to show you what I'm trying to build. I've way over-engineered this, by the way. I probably spent all day on this. I had a couple tests, but there was a lot of trouble with pistons firing at the wrong time, things getting in the way. A lot of redstone interference I had to try to work around so pistons wouldn't extra fire or block things or dispensers mess up. But here it is. It's a 7 by, I think 10, but it can be as long as it wants, really. Lengthwise, it's kind of limited by the way the water cuts off. And this doesn't have to be all hoppers. I just got lazy and didn't want to run water. But yeah, so you plant trees in here. As many or little as you want. You can fill every little square. You can fill up some, and as they grow and replant under Zero's Vanilla Plus mod. It'll keep itself going for the most part. You'll probably lose saplings if you fill it all the way up and gain them as it goes, so it'll be a balance. And then if we just do random tick speed, like 10,000. Ooh. They will all grow. Yeah, I mean, every single little spot will grow in there to varying degrees. The pumpkins up here are, I think it's 7 blocks of air between there and here. So it's light level 9 underneath the pumpkin and then light level 8 right next to it. So trees only need light level 7 to grow. You could possibly put some pumpkins or jack-o'-lanterns on the side there. Alright, so, and then the back end is... each one of these chests feeds into a dropper. And they're all separated because you want to put different types of logs in here for Zero's tree cutter pack to work. You don't want, like, so this will be oak, jungle, birch, dark oak, whatever you want to do. And just basically have it go a couple without being next to each other. So, like, if this is oak, you wouldn't want another oak for at least 3 or 4. Because droppers spit out kind of randomly. And you don't want them to be so close together they just group up into a pile. You want them to be separated, so you just have to do it, alternating it. And then you just push a button. I haven't figured out how to turn it on just yet, but as you can see, it pushes up the items dispense, and it pushes it all the way over. So all these trees in that will break. That block right there being a leaf is a bit of a problem. In theory, this issue decay as all these die, but it did stop everything that was getting pushed over, so that might be an issue. I'll have to look into seeing that if it's a real problem long term. Obviously I could just push the button again, and if that was decayed, the next rush would push the things along. But yeah, now I have to try to build this. It was pretty intense to get the droppers and the pistons to not fire at the same time, and then the pistons up here, and then the water to not get messed up by the pistons pushing out, because these pistons right here are pretty crucial. They push out this glass block above the droppers so that if any leaves grow there, because sometimes plants grow on the ground, they won't block the water dispensers so that they don't break the water dispensers by making it just throw out a bucket. And there's all these delays, and as you can see, a ton of observers, because some of it because I need it and some of it because I'm lazy. You could also use redstone torches to power it from below, but observers are a little easier. But yeah, guys, now I have to try to build this in survival. Pray for me. Hey guys, so first time for the first run. Not all of them are quite grown, but waited for like a half an hour or so. Unfortunately, random tick speed is lower on this server. I think it's 1 instead of 3, so basically all the trees in that take 3 times as long to grow. They will technically all grow from this setup. In my test world, with like a 3,000 tick rate, they all grow, but obviously the ones in the corners have a lot more trouble growing because they have to grow in a certain way, and then like sometimes the leaves actually start appearing on the outside, but then they decay. But let's push this button and hope for the best. So it pushes up, water comes out, breaks the trees. Oh, some of them got missed, which is very odd. Now I did put at least a stack in all these chests for all the wood types. Well, not all. I don't have dark oak. And I think that's the only one I'm missing. But there's 5 wood types that I put in here. And there's 15 things, so it just does jungle, birch, oak, spruce, acacia, and then jungle spruce. So it basically repeats 3 times. But they're separated enough that they shouldn't stack each other despite the thing being pushed. But let's push the button one more time to just get everything done. But nothing is stuck there at least. But not all the logs breaking is a bit of a disappointment. There's some randomness to where the droppers put things. So unfortunately, sometimes I guess things might get missed. It can just be run twice. And see, I don't know why those didn't break. It just broke like the one line. I think it might be because I used too many logs. Zero said something about how if there's too many logs out, it doesn't break as high as it should. So that one is unfortunately not going to break. And all those didn't break. And all those didn't break. So yeah, I'm actually this is not working because the leaves won't decay on their own if all the logs aren't gone. Got quite a bit of oak logs. Obviously about 5 of everything is what I use for the dispensers. So got about a stack of logs, give or take, of oak logs. But yeah, unfortunately most of these, if not all of these, won't decay because there's oak logs left over. I couldn't really test this part on my test world because I don't have like the most latest version of Vanilla Plus or whatever, it's 0 modified for the server. So I guess maybe I just made it too big. I thought 7 by 15 would be fine, bigger and more area for the saplings to fall in. But maybe a little less so that all the trees break, because it looks like in some of these places only the first row broke. But in theory this should work on everything except possibly acacia for this very reason, because acacia grows weird and it leaves a lot of logs. And jungle just because it doesn't drop nearly enough saplings. But spruce and everything else, the small spruce trees, it should theoretically work because spruce seems to drop quite a bit of saplings. Oak, obviously, it should work. Maybe just less saplings in there. I started it with about 64 saplings. This thing can hold 100 and something, like 108, 7 by 15. So, you know, a little spaced out more so that they don't get stuck. It might work. But yeah, guys, we're going to leave it here. The only thing I also have to do other than try to fiddle with it so maybe that the stuff doesn't get stuck, I'm guessing maybe only have half of the droppers fire and then have the other half fire again later, maybe, just so there's less logs on the field. I'm not quite sure what happens to cause all the problems of not running. But I also need to do a timer if I want this to be automatic. I was thinking something like a daylight sensor that'd go to a counter. So like every time it's nighttime, it'd add 1 to the counter, and maybe every 3 or 4 nights it would go, because trees take a very long time to grow on this. And it only works when the chunks are loaded, and this area is, generally speaking, the farthest away from anything and not loaded. You can just barely see the pumpkin if you're near the edge of the village. You can just barely see the pumpkin across it. I think I have like 12 or 16 render distance, but the server I don't think goes beyond 10 maybe. But yeah, if you're over there where those trees are, you can just barely see the pumpkin. So I don't think the tree farm is loaded for most people, which means it won't grow when I'm not in the industry area. So for now, it's just a button push. I thought it would be a nice large volume of trees, but it's looking like it's getting stuck just because of what Zero said something about where if there's too many logs in an area, it doesn't go all the way up for lag reasons or whatever, just to prevent too many items falling. But yeah, guys, this is just a guy signing off. Catch you guys later.